So we're here to inform the community, let them know about what's going on in business in China. We host events weekly or twice a week on different aspects of doing business in China. And so that ties in with educating the local community as well about different aspects of doing business in Canada. So we're also working with Chinese businesses, bridging them with Canada. And supporting them with their investment facilitation into Canada. Canada is also expanding in China. I just attended the opening of a new trade office in a second-tier city in China. And so at the provincial and the federal levels, new offices are opening around the country. So it is a good time for Canada-China relations. Chinese authorities do set restrictions on the outflows of funds to foreign countries, but nothing has really been done to stop it. We even see government delegations going in the private sector and public sector to visit assets abroad that they could potentially invest into. So I think they are encouraging it to a certain extent, and the free trade zone allows for more financial flexibility in the outflow of funds. So, it's happening, and it will continue to take place and probably grow as the Canadian dollar is at a lower amount, like a lower value now. And China's devalued the currency here. It's a good time for Chinese investors to continue to look to Canada. In China, there's an issue with air pollution, soil contamination, water issues, and the truth is that China doesn't trust the food that it creates domestically. So when you have a wealthy middle class, they're demanding foreign products, foreign agri-food products in particular, which Canada is very strong in. So that market, I think, will only continue to grow. So that ties in again with the devaluation of the RMB. Should it continue to devalue, could become an issue in the future, but at this point, opportunity for agri-food is quite strong in China. We're getting more and more requests from local governments as well to be set up with new sectors across Canada, even in provinces that they hadn't considered before. And with the lending rate still being quite low in Canada, it's a good time for Chinese investors to look to Canada. So we are seeing more and more. For Canadian companies coming to China, some of the sectors, like in the commodities area, where business is not as good as it once was, we are seeing less companies coming over in those sectors. But there is, again, in sectors like agri-food, where there's still opportunity here. I think businesses will still continue to come over, and the truth is Canadian business has only scratched the surface of the Chinese market. China is made up of different cultures, with speaking different languages with different business culture. So it's up to organizations like the Canadian Chamber, like the consulate and the trade offices to break into these new markets for Canadian business and find these people with money who are looking to purchase foreign products and build a connection between the two countries. So I think that there are still delegations going over and coming over, and I don't expect it to stop. The signing of the free trade agreement with Australia. I'm not sure how much Canada is aware of that, but it is a real issue in China. Canada is quite far away, I would guess, from signing a free trade agreement with China. And in terms of what Canada is producing and what Canada is exporting, we are similar in terms of commodities, agri-food, and products like this, natural resource ingredients type products. So it will be a big issue for Canadian companies selling commodities that are similar to those in Australia and now facing much higher prices because the Australians will not have to deal with the tariff barriers as much as they used to for many of the sectors. So we do hear about things in the news like the RMB devaluation, but in terms of relationships with China's relationships with other countries, I think that's something we can't overlook. It's actually very important. China is a very price-focused country. If you're getting the same product from two different countries, there's no reason that a Chinese consumer will not purchase Australian over Canadian. They both have an equally good reputation.